And good morning, Westfield. Welcome to Rock On Westfield with your host, Harry Rock. And what a fabulous way that is to start our day with the YMCA song. You are listening to WSKB 89.5, community radio for the greater Westfield area. I am Harry Rock, your host, and with me behind the big board, and you can't see him today, is our illustrious engineer, the guy who keeps WSKB going, Pete Coles. And the guy...
Morning, Harry.
It's the one guy that can push my buttons other than my wife, and I can say, yep, that's all right, Pete. So how are you, Pete?
Just ducky.
So for our radio listeners, the thing that you need to realize is that you may notice that the background is a little bit different. We have a big blue wall behind us today.
I should take a picture of the hallway and project it behind you. That'd be funny.
Oh, yeah, I know it would be.
At the studio.
We are actually in the Westfield Technical Academy, and we are broadcasting in the television radio broadcasting shop for Westfield Technical Academy, and this will also be the new television and radio studio for Channel 15, which is kind of cool. So that is going to be coming. We're still under construction. What you can't see, listeners, is a lot of ceiling
pallet of ceiling tiles.
Yeah, a pallet of ceiling tiles.
Painting supplies.
Painting supplies, holes in the wall, but it's really coming along. But it is Wednesday, October 24th. The time is about 8:02-ish in the morning, and we're excited to have you with us. I will be up front to let you know, though, that this show is being pre-recorded, so I won't be doing any weather checks, but I can tell you that if you look out your window...
And if you do as you're right, you're going to be the man.
I can tell you that it'll either be sunny or cloudy. It'll probably be cool or cold. I don't think it'll be warm. And it'll be either dry or wet, so you could figure all the above. And
you're doing better than the TV guys.
Yeah, I know it. So far, I think I'm 1 for 1 there. But we are excited to have you here. We are. I'm going to be out of town on Wednesday, October 24th, which is the day you're actually listening to this. So that's why we are pre-recording this. But I am excited today to have Gail Lagasse in the studio with me, who's the new marketing and fundraising director for the Amelia Park Ice Arena, as well as the site coordinator for Domus Incorporated. And we will be discussing Gail's career in Westfield with the many nonprofits she's worked with, where she gets her boundless energy, her inspiration, and her dedication to help others. And for any of you who know Gail, to know Gail is to respect and admire her for her compassion for others and for her desire to make a difference within the world that she touches. And I've known Gail for 28 years now, I think, and she's a person that I really respect, admire, and excited to have had in my life here in Westfield as part of my professional career, and excited to hear what she's going to be doing today. So, Pete, just a quick update. You can give our listeners a quick update now that we're sitting here with the big blue wall behind us.
Yes.
What should listeners expect, and why are we moving here, and what's this all about?
So this is going to be the public access studio for the city. We really haven't had one since Westfield State has offered their spot when they were doing public access. But it was hard to access, and you could go there during the summer, but during the school year you can never find a parking spot.
Oh yeah.
And plus, the staff that did it up there are really now busy with other projects. I mean, they hosted Schools Match Wits, which is, that's a big season. They have to do all the questions and production and pre-production and stuff like that. So they do a lot of work. So they really don't have the time to dedicate to public access. So the city decided to take it back and start doing it themselves, where they posted a position and I got hired for it. And part of that is to develop a TV and radio broadcasting shop at the school under the graphic arts umbrella. So that's where we're in the starting stages of that. During this school year, we got to submit to the state for approval to make this certified shop so that students can get a certificate credit and work experience. We're hosting some media professionals from the industry, both radio and television, to be part of an advisory board to help us with curriculum, what's relevant, what's not relevant. So we're really in the beginning stages of making this happen, and eventually what they plan on doing, I believe, is having a full-time teacher and then have a full-time public access coordinator. So
Wow.
Excellent.
Wow.
so it'll be a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's exciting for you and for those of us that are the show hosts. It's kind of exciting that we'll have another studio that we'll be utilizing, but we've always enjoyed being up on the third floor of Ely Campus Center over on Westfield.
These mics
Westfield
don't
State
sound that bad.
University. No, they sound great, actually. They sound terrific.
Yep.
So, how excited am I to have the wonderful Gail Lagasse in the studio with me?
I don't know. How excited are you?
I am very excited.
Okay, good.
Yeah, with
I am
that
too.
effervescent smile that she
That's me.
has. So, Gail, I have known you for a long, long time, but I don't know everything about you, and our listeners know even less. And so I always like to use the first segment to kind of just personalize whoever I have as a guest on to give them an opportunity to get to know who it is.
Getting to know you.
Getting
No.
to know you. That's very good, Gail.
Okay, very good.
So where did you grow up, and
who?
what were you involved with for hobbies
Oh,
and interests
God.
as a young girl?
Oh, gosh.
And we'll
So
start
long
with that.
ago.
I know, so long ago.
The horse and carriage used to come and get me on my way to school. So I had I grew up in Western Mass in West Springfield, and had a wonderful childhood, an only child. So it's all about me. And a wonderful family, loved school, loved all my friends. Married early, had children early, as we did back in the dark ages. People did. It was just a different world.
Right.
And then started from there and just kept reinventing myself. I'm real proud of all the things I've done, and it's quite eclectic. That's a good word. That's a good
That
word.
is a good
That was a good
word.
word.
I like
I
that,
didn't even
yeah.
write
Very
that in my
eclectic.
notes. It was a real
I
good
know.
word.
Very
Right.
good word, right.
Right. And did everything from getting my wings with Eastern Airlines when there was an Eastern Airlines.
Oh, my gosh.
I'll say
right.
it to people, and the kids go, huh? And then from there was corralled into the YMCA work, which is where I met Harry eventually.
Yep.
I started out with John Barkley, dear
Yep.
John, who's still doing very well, and started out in one department at the Y and worked my way up to senior program director and worked with Harry for many years. Then I took early retirement and went over to the Salvation Army, which was on Arnold Street, and became the director over there of the service center, not to be confused with the thrift store. We did social service work. And after 10 years, they closed up shop and pulled it out of they closed, period. They're just done here in Westfield.
So no presence at all.
There are a few volunteers, lovely people who will still do, and they depend on the community, the churches, actually Amelia Park, places to give them room to solicit or give out some of their turkeys at Thanksgiving, that kind of thing. But there's no real social service from the Salvation Army here.
Wow.
So then...
Well, now, before we go there, I'm just curious, how many grandchildren do you have?
Oh, my God, we're into that, yes.
Right.
I have 2 grown daughters, 2 wonderful son-in-laws, and 4 amazing grandchildren. My oldest granddaughter just graduated from nursing school.
Nursing school?
And she's an RN waiting to pass her boards.
Oh, my gosh.
The
I think when you were with me, we were talking about
they were
them
born.
being born
They
and
were
going
born.
in nursery school.
No, they went to
not
nursery school, so right.
Not nursing school.
And my other granddaughter, Natalie, is a senior at Smith. She spent a semester abroad.
Wow.
She's in nuclear science. And then the 2 youngest ones are both 18 and just started as freshmen in college.
Wow.
So that's my crew. Love them.
Are you a nanny?
I am a nanny.
Just
Carol
like
Palmer and I are
Carol Palmer,
nannies.
you're both.
Yes.
I was, it's funny. I was
Yes.
just coming back to me. I'm thinking, I think she's a nanny, just like Carol Palmer was.
Yeah,
but
we are.
I can safely say that no one could have a better nanny than Gail
Thank you.
Lagasse.
I love them.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
love,
obvious.
love them. And
Right.
Very, very blessed to have the family I
You
do.
have a chance to see much of them?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I was just invited up to Smith for brunch last weekend
Oh, really?
by Natalie and her roommates at this beautiful, incredible new dorm they have up there. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm everywhere.
Oh, that's
Wherever they
great.
are, I am.
Very, very cool.
Yes,
My
it is.
niece actually graduated from Smith, so when she was there, She was from central New York, so we kind of adopted her as our daughter because she was all the way here
Sure.
and a long way from home, and so we would go there for brunch. I
Oh,
remember
absolutely.
doing that, or we would pick her up
For tea.
Yeah,
They have
we did
very,
that,
very,
right. Or we'd go up
yeah.
and we on a Friday night or Saturday night. We'd go relatively early because we recognized that she wanted to go out with her friends and not hang out with her older
Yeah.
aunt and uncle on a Saturday or Friday night. But we would always take her out to dinner, so it was always fun.
It's
But
a
we
lovely
got to know
traditional
Smith as a
school.
result of
It's
that.
amazing. And she will go on in her studies, but this is her graduating year, and they're all praying for Michelle Obama to be their
Oh,
commencement
sure.
speaker. You know,
Right.
they've had Oprah and they've had a few amazing people, and good school, great school.
Wow. So what actually brought you to Westfield? Was it the Y? How
It
did
was
you,
the
how did
Y.
you find
It was the
Westfield?
Y.
And what was it that you were looking for?
I wasn't. I was with the airlines, and I bumped into someone who worked at the Y, and she said, "Gee, they're looking for blah 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 blah." I think it was. I started off as youth and family. I think that was my first job here, and I had worked in Suffield, of course, at the Park and Rec department. And my friend, I can mention her on the air, Lisa McMahon,
Oh, sure.
knew somebody that knew me, and she recommended me, and off I went. So I can thank Lisa for bringing me into the Y.
Yeah.
And John Barkley, hired me, and then off I went.
Yeah.
And a good move, one of my best decisions I ever made. Yep.
And you have, we're going to get into this in a moment, but you have spent your entire career essentially, well, not your entire
Adult,
career, but
yeah.
most of your adult years here in Westfield.
Yeah.
Why do you like Westfield so much?
I've never lived here. That's amazing.
I know people probably think that you do.
I know. Lived in Suffield for 35 years and now downsized and have a condo in Agawam. Westfield has a way of bringing the community together that I haven't seen in other cities. I used to sit on so many consortiums and groups that we were able to all support each other. So if one social service organization, for example, couldn't find a way to help, somebody else would, and we knew that. All of this was connected, and I love that. And I'm excited to be back into it, actually, quite frankly, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but anybody that knows you, I mean, they have to think Gail Agassi, the nonprofit lady of Westfield, because you've worked
The
in
poor
almost
lady at Westfield, right?
She's worked in almost every non-for-profit
I have.
there is, but
I know.
But you've really made an amazing impact. You know, it's funny. We've had a couple of, I was kidding Gail off the air, we've had a couple of occasions where we hadn't seen each other in a long, long, long time, for many, many years actually. And all of a sudden there's been a couple of events in town that have brought us back together. And it's been kind of funny because we've run into a lot of adults, young adults with families and married, who were our kids at the Y. They were our leaders' kids. They worked at camp. They worked
yeah.
as our lifeguards and
Oh,
child
yeah.
care directors,
Oh, yeah.
and now we're seeing them out in the
Oh, yeah.
community, all grown up, and it
Yeah.
was so funny in the last 2 weeks
Yes.
where we've bumped
We've
into
seen
each
a lot
other
of
that
people.
we've seen a bunch of
Right.
our former charges.
One of my, you all know Andrea Allard,
Oh yes,
who is now the executive director of the Y, was one of my kids. And
was she really?
Yeah, she was. And Eric Hall, they were just, that whole group have all been, most of them are teachers and have been in the teaching world for over 20 years now, which tells you how old I am. Anyway, but
time moves on fast.
just a wonderful, through the Y, a wonderful experience that I'll always cherish.
Yeah, wow. Well, it is coming up on the quarter of the hour, so it is time for us to take a break, and then we will be back. But you are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, Rock On Westfield, and we are going to take you out with a song from Josh White called Bad Housing Blues.
I woke up this morning, rain was water in my bed. I woke up this morning, rainwater in my bed. You know my roof was leaking, Lord, leaking on my head. Now it ain't no reason I shouldn't live this way. Lord, it ain't no reason I shouldn't live this way. I done lost my job, can't even get on the WPA. Lord, I wonder when I'll hear good news. Oh, Lord, I wonder when I'll hear good news. Right now I'm gonna tell you I've got them bad housing blues. I'm going to the Capitol, going to the White House lawn. Well, I'm going to the Capitol, going to the White House lawn. Better wipe out these slums, been this way since I was born.
And welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Rock On Westfield with your host, Harry Rock. It is Wednesday, October 24th. You are listening to WSKB 89.5 FM. And in the studio with me today is Gail Agassi, who is the new Marketing and Fundraising Director for the Amelia Park Ice Arena, as well as the Site Coordinator for Domus Incorporated. We're having a really interesting talk. I've known Gail for all of my years here in Westfield, for a good 28 years, and it's exciting to have her in the studio because she's actually got two different job functions going on right now. But we're going to start talking about something that you've been doing, and I'm not sure how many years it's been that you've been with Domus now, but you have really found a passion and a real direction in life with that organization.
Yeah.
Having, when you left when the Salvation Army closed, you weren't looking for work, I don't think, and I think they came looking for you. Is that right? Ann Lentini
That's exactly
sought
right.
you out because she
Oh,
recognized greatness? And
No, well, she sought me out because she needed help.
Yeah, right.
No, I've known Ann and worked with Ann all the years I've been in Westfield. Ann is executive director of Domus Incorporated, which stands for Domicile Housing Homes. And it was established in 1982. And she's won many awards from, I was going to say rebuilding, that's wrong, but
Rehabilitating?
no, that's not the word either.
I'm trying to figure
Talking to me.
figure the word.
I know. When you save old buildings, so
rehabilitation
no,
or
no,
repurposing.
no. Okay,
No.
Reclaiming?
I'll come back.
Yeah,
Reclaiming.
That's okay.
That's it. Reclaiming.
No. When you restore an old building, you do what? You
Rehabilitate it.
Rehabilitating
never
it,
mind.
rehabbing it. But that's okay.
That's
we know
okay.
we know what she's
well,
doing.
anyway, all her. Okay,
She has definitely been repurposing.
She's
these
repurposing.
buildings that, quite frankly, would have been torn down
They
or
all,
left in a state of disrepair. And I am so amazed at what she has done.
Right now, there are 10 programs, 10 facilities, and the 11th one coming up is the renovation of Mosley School.
Right.
And there will be about 24 families over there. There's 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments coming up. But each one historical was the word I was looking for.
Oh,
Historical, because each one of her buildings, except for the new one, the annex, are all historical buildings.
Okay.
The Reed House on Main Street, it's an old Victorian when you're driving on Main Street.
Beautiful
Yeah,
house.
beautiful home.
Yeah.
It was built in 1899, and that's one of the first houses that she took over in 2000, and that was for the original purpose was for those who were homeless and disabled. There's 9. These are not group homes, by the way, just to make that clear. These are individual, independent living apartments. And each home has a different requirement, so to speak. When she renovated Prospect Hill School, those are all families. 101 Meadow are individuals. Renova Building are individuals. And then the ones I just talked about, the annex, are individuals. Then, for those of you who remember the old Red Cross building on Broad Street,
Right.
I was involved in that when we were sitting at a consortium meeting of all of us who work with the homeless, and Kathy Tansey and Lisa McMahon came to a meeting and said, "Did you know there were 33 homeless kids at the high school?" And we didn't. We were all astonished. So that was about 8 or 9 years ago. And from then, Domus took over that project because it was like reinventing the wheel. And finally, 2 years ago, the house was ready. There are 9 young people over there, ages 18 to 24. Let's see, 2 have graduated from college. 1 is graduating from high school this year. And they can stay till they're just about 25 years old. And it's been successful. They have a live-in site coordinator from, I think he's from the college. Ray Broderick. It was named in his honor, and he was very, very instrumental in helping us get that off the ground. So our house is the building. And to just, there's a few things that I want to make clear to people. Most of these facilities and these homes are mostly relocated Westfield residents. So people have said to me many times, "Oh, you're bringing in people from," well, that's not true. The Reed House, for example, 100% of them were Westfield residents who now have decent living. And it goes on, all the buildings, up to 80%, 90% are all Westfield residents relocated. And what these homes do, and what this nonprofit also does, is help the city of Westfield meet their mandated, state-mandated quota for affordable housing. Now, Domus does that,
Does Domus own the homes?
Yes.
So they physically buy them?
They physically buy them.
They rehab them?
Yes.
And then they run the program?
Correct.
So they're doing everything?
They're doing everything.
Usually one agency will rehab it, and another program will...
they do everything from A to Z.
Run the program.
They get funding, of course, national funding, and just funding wherever they can get funding. Ann Lentini is brilliant at that. HUD reimburses some of the tenants, housing some of the tenants, and the requirements are all different at the different homes, depending on their situation. Many of them are still disabled to some extent, but they still live independently. That's huge. And it gives people a decent, clean way to live. For some people, this is the last chance that they'll ever have to live in decent, sanitary, clean housing. There's a lot of rules and regulations. They pay rent, subsidized rent, and most of them have some sort of...
Oh, they do pay some rent?
They do.
Okay.
Some of them are subsidized through housing, some through HUD, and most of them have some kind of income.
So
SSDI
they have
or whatever.
They have their own bedroom, and then they share common space?
They have it's more than a bedroom. They have their own little apartments.
Oh, they do?
There's a little kitchenette.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's common areas.
So it's not like a rooming house.
It's not. I've tried very hard in the 2 homes that I spend time at. And it's really just to make sure everybody has all their needs met, whether it's applying for certain benefits, maintenance of the homes, just supporting them. Tried to make a family situation out of both homes. So we come together for birthdays and for celebrating and Christmas and Thanksgiving. I'm very proud. And honestly, I'll be with them forever because they've become my family.
How many facilities do you oversee?
I oversee 2, the
Okay.
Annex and Reed House, so there's 9 tenants in each one.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's where I spend my afternoons. I love it. I'm very fortunate, working with someone like Ann Lentini, and this philosophy they have
Yeah.
is just so inspiring. And it's never ending. Ann will never stop.
She's amazing.
For any of you who know her.
I've always been very, very impressed with her. I can remember, when her sons were at the Y,
Her sons all worked for me.
They worked
her
for
sons
you.
and daughter worked for me.
Yeah,
at
they were
camp.
camp, and now they're doing very well on
Absolutely.
in their own adult lives. But she's been just
amazing.
She's this little peanut of a woman.
But don't get her mad.
Oh my gosh! And boy,
No,
does
she's
she have
very
energy.
strong-willed.
Her
She's
energy
wonderful.
and her drive is just amazing. I've
She's
always
amazing.
admired her from that standpoint.
And we all do.
And Westfield's lucky to have that kind of a program. Do other communities have this kind of a program, or is this unique to Westfield?
On a small scale, because we visited other places, one here, one there. No, I've never seen anything quite this
Right.
extensive. She's being honored, I was told, by the Chamber of Commerce for their Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, I
that's
saw that.
coming
I
up.
think
yeah.
I saw that on the website or
And she's
Facebook
been
or
honored.
something.
Historical societies, which is the word I was
Right.
struggling with, and Westfield State has honored her. She's amazing. It's an amazing. For those of you, please remember when you hear about Domus and possibly another property, to not judge what you think you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard people say, "Oh, well, I don't want to live next to them." Well, be careful who them are. You could be them. She's very supported now, and we run really a tight ship. I mean, there's very strict guidelines, very strict rules, and no smoking facilities. It goes on and on. I mean,
No, they're all single. They're not married. Are there
There's
any
no
married? There's no couples. They're all individuals.
Prospect Hill School are families or couples.
Oh, they are.
Mosley will be families
Oh,
or couples.
wow.
But all the rest are single dwellings, yeah.
Okay. And then how do they get placed to you? Is it through state agencies are recommending them to you?
I don't do
They
any,
don't come directly to
Oh, no.
Domus.
Yeah,
to-
sometimes they do.
to
They
apply
might
to
go
live
on
there?
School Street. For School Street is the Domus office, and you can either way. I mean, it's a combination of things. Many of the residents come from the Samaritan Inn. Many are recommended through their workers, or people hear of it themselves, and then they go for an interview and take it from there. They take care of going through that process.
Now, is there a limit to how long they can live there, or
No.
could they live there their entire
the rest
lives?
of their lives, and that's
Really?
the hope.
Wow.
But the families, there's some great success stories over at Prospect Hill School. Forgot what the number is. I want to say about 6 families have purchased homes
On their own.
on their own
Since they
since
moved.
living there.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are kind of the successes you're looking for. But no, people can stay, and unfortunately, we've just since I've been there had to say goodbye to a few who've passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, they lived their last days with some dignity.
So what's the age range of people that are in the program?
Well, over at our house, it would be 18. So basically, most of the people in the other houses range 40 years old, 40. We have
Okay, so it's not
20
just
to
young
40.
people. It's
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all. Our house is, because obviously they're young homeless students.
Right. Hard to believe that we have homeless students here. And, I had heard that statistic back when it first came out. I was stunned myself to learn that there were homeless children in Westfield,
Yeah.
which was hard to accept in our community here.
Absolutely. And the reasons are many. It usually comes down to bad living circumstances with
Right.
drug addict parents, and 18, they're out of the system as foster care and so forth and so on. Yeah.
Wow, it's really, really interesting. Well, we're going to take a short break here to thank our sponsors, the people who pay for the funding of this station and all of our programs. You are listening to WSKB 89.5 Rock on Westfield with your host, Harry Rock, and we will be right back, and we'll be talking about Gail's role with the Amelia Park Ice Arena. And to take you into that, we have a song called Puck Yeah! And welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Rock on Westfield with your host, Harry Rock. It is Wednesday, October 24th. The time is about 8:35 in the morning. We are excited to have you here. This is a pre-recorded show. It's a week before you're actually seeing it and listening to it yourself, and in the studio with me because I'm going to be traveling. But I was excited to be able to have our producer was willing. Pete Coles, who's the man who keeps us going here, said, just come on in and we'll do a pre-record. And this is just working out great because I've got my good friend here, Gail Lagasse, who I've known for a long, long time. And we're getting to know a lot about Gail, both on her personal side. She just shared with me also that not only did she do all the things you've been listening to, but she was also an aerobics instructor for the Park and Rec Department in West Springfield. Or in Suffield. Yeah. You know, it's funny, knowing your personality, I can see that.
And I got certified at Springfield College.
At Springfield
it was
College.
The Wise Way of Fitness.
Oh, I remember that.
The
oh, yeah, the Wise Way of Fitness, sure. And that's where I most recently retired from.
I know.
But Gail is both the site coordinator for DOMA. She has 2 houses that she's in charge of. We've been listening to her talking about that and her passion of working with those families and those individuals. And she's also the new marketing and fundraising director for the Amelia Park Ice Arena. I was connected with that, Gail, right from the get-go. When Al was first putting that together, I can remember we were in a staff meeting and I get a call at the Y, and the desk calls up and says, Harry, you need to take this. I said, really? Why? This is the middle of a staff meeting. Oh, it's Al first. I go, whoa, if it's Al first, I better take it. The next thing I know, he's inviting me to become part of what he called his blue ribbon committee to plan, to build, and design a new ice arena in town. Yes. And I said, Al, I just want to be clear that, I'm the Y guy. I'm not the Boys and Girls Club guy, because that's who he was supporting.
Right.
And he said, no, I've been very impressed with you, blah, blah, blah. So I've been part of that board forever. Just jumped off of it probably maybe 2 years ago now. I'm a board member emeritus still with that. But you have, it's not like you're bored or anything. You've got so much in your life. You have worked for almost every nonprofit here in Westfield. You're fully engaged with Domus. And the next thing I know, I'm down at the rink because I'm talking to him about Westfield 350 stuff. And Brian Barnes, who's the rink manager down, he takes me into the back. I said, I want to show you something. He takes me back there. He says, see that desk? I said, yeah, that's Gail Agassi's desk. Really? What's she doing here? Oh, we've hired her.
That's exactly right.
I said, wait a minute, isn't she with Domus? Yep, she's doing that. Now she's doing this too. I said,
oh, my God.
Oh, poor Gail. It's like she hasn't got enough in her life already. So
no.
What are you doing at the Amelia Park Ice Arena?
Well, don't forget, Domus is part-time. I work 15 hours a week there. So,
yeah, but you've got grandkids and you got all these
they're
other
all off
things.
on their own. I mean, everybody's on their own.
That's
you
true.
get
That's
to a
true.
point where
Right.
they have their lives. I'm not following them around,
Yeah.
and I'm a widow lady. So, I mean, things change. Things
Right.
change. But anyway, I was recruited for this, believe it or not. Brian Barnes, as you well know, is the executive director, and he comes from an amazing background. He's the
He really does.
retired colonel over at Barnes
Yeah.
Airport, and a pilot, and just this incredibly gifted man. But there's a lot of details that go into the programming and grant writing that he really, hasn't got time for, quite frankly, with all his other duties. So so my name kept popping up till I think he had no choice but to say, well, bring her in, let's talk to her.
Did you know him before that?
No, I did not. I knew his
Okay.
parents, of course, and
Yeah,
I know his
sure.
wife,
Right.
but I did not
Yeah,
know.
Paul and
I
Dottie Barnes, who were very, very
Oh, my
involved with
gosh.
the YMCA on
Oh,
our
my
board of
gosh.
directors on the search committee that brought me to Westfield,
Yes,
actually.
and
Paul
Dottie
was.
and Paul stayed involved with us even at the
Right.
Salvation Army. They are very generous. And Dottie called me from Florida once to tell me about the woman she saved who got her arm bit off by an alligator.
Oh,
So
my God,
I
what
go
a
back
story
with the
that
Barnes
was.
family,
Right.
And they were just always good people. And so anyway, there I am meeting with, and I called him Paul once by mistake. He won't let me
Oh.
forget that for a while. That's Brian.
Oh,
Okay.
that's funny.
And we talked about what he was looking for
Yeah.
and what I could bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And he brought it to the board. Some of them, it was a couple of the board members who had actually brought my name up. And here I am. And I started 3 weeks ago. And grant writing is a huge piece of this, but you also have to have programs that fit into the dialogue of the grants. It isn't just, let's write a grant. So that's what I've been doing, putting a database together. I already sent one grant in that had an open deadline. We're going to look into new programming that will come out of these grants. Sarah Gillett's a good example.
Oh, sure.
Here in town, those are the money would come for programs for people 55 and older, and they've never gone after that. So that kind of thing. But they serve all of Western New England over at the rink. They have NCAA college teams, 2 club college teams, 2 high school varsity programs. Westfield Hockey Association, there's between 300 and 350 kids.
Wow.
Camper sports, church and school. And one of the things I want to go after, which they're already doing, is giving free 50-minute ice time to maybe those who are a nonprofit, and especially in children's services. And they can use that time for their own fundraiser if they choose. So I want to do more grants for children's programs, handicapped. And they have an amazing sled hockey program over there. Keep your ears peeled for that, because
Can you
unless you've
describe
ever
what
seen...
sled hockey is?
Well, sled hockey is for those who are disabled or handicapped. Some have no limbs, lower limbs, and some do. And the sleds are flat to the ice. You'd have to see it to believe it. I mean, they're amazing.
You've never been to a sled hockey game, Harry?
Oh, no, I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's cool to watch,
cool
and they
to
move
watch.
fast.
They fall over.
No, I
they get back
volunteer
up.
there every year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But I just want our listeners to know what
Yes.
sled hockey is.
I think it's exciting. I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, I was jumping all over the place because I
Right.
was afraid they were getting hurt, and they were not. So,
Oh, yeah, they're checking.
Oh, they're amazing.
And these are all either double runners or single
Yes,
runners, and how they
yes.
can balance off each other is
right.
amazing.
So their upper body strength is
Right.
amazing.
And so
yeah.
what they have is a short looks like a very short hockey stick. It's
Yes.
probably only about
Yes.
maybe 2 feet long.
Yes.
And the back end of it, the top of it, is the paddle that would hit the puck.
Right.
And the bottom of it has the pick, and that's how they propel
can go.
themselves. They just pick
Right.
and go.
Yeah. So quite a few of the grants have. I'm going to go after funding so that so that the organization, the whole tournament, can be as much as possible cost free,
Yeah,
so they can come
sure.
in. So that's a huge.
And
piece
those
of it.
teams, I think there's like 14 or 16 teams, but they come in from all
All
around
over.
the country. They come in
do.
from Canada.
They do.
And it's that is a tournament that those skaters really look forward to.
They do. And if
it's
we can
amazing.
raise more money to help with their
Right.
equipment, their hotel stays, whatever, anything to help them when they're here.
What you talked about, you're going to make a program, or you're going to make a block of ice free to the nonprofits. What was that all about?
There's the 50 minutes.
50-minute, which is a block of ice,
There's
right?
a block of ice. If I can go after some funding so that nonprofits, especially nonprofits that have children involved, can come in, get that block of ice, either just for their program, or if they want to fundraise in that 50-minute block, they can. Whatever they want to do.
Sure.
So that's one of the things. I'm still learning about blocks of ice.
Right.
But I'm getting there.
Are you an ice skater yourself?
Oh, no, I pronate. So,
Oh, you pronate.
I skate on my ankles. But they do have the walkers
Yes.
for young children learning to skate and
Right.
handicapped also.
Right.
Yeah, and people who pronate like me.
Do they have many people, like disabled people, coming in skating? Do you have any idea?
I don't know that. That's
All
a
right.
question I can't answer. But I think you'd have more if we kind of didn't have to charge them or charge them very little. So that's a piece of what I'm going after, too. Then we come to the garden.
Amelia's Garden. And what an amazing resource that is. This beautiful cultured flower garden
it's
that
just
sits in the
beautiful.
middle of between the arena, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Children's Museum.
It's beautiful.
And it was named after Al's wife,
Yes.
Amelia, who he called Millie.
I know.
Right.
What a great love story. I
Yeah.
mean, to really, for all eternity, to honor her that way.
Yeah, he was really proud of that.
The garden may be going through a little bit of a change to make it maybe less annuals as far as the flowers go, and more of a contemplative, where you go to, more low-keyed, maybe perennials. So they're looking at changing that a little, because it's quite costly to keep up some
Right.
of that. But also what I'm looking into is other organizations who can come in and help us. I don't know if I'm in between of getting in touch with United Way to see if Day of Caring is still going on, so they can do some of that, bringing in youth
Yeah, I
groups.
believe it is. still going,
I've got
right.
a call in right now. And again, maybe something for the seniors to come in and, many people love to garden. Maybe they can be a part of that. I don't know. Again, it's being creative with what we've got. That's what we're doing. There are weddings that happen out in the garden that are limited cost. Maybe we look to expand that. I don't know. I mean, maybe we find a way to make that bigger or not. There's a lot. There's a lot to consider out there. It's just, I just would love to see people walking through there and sitting there and just looking at the sky. I mean, it's so beautiful
Right.
over there. Yeah.
Right. We're fortunate as a community of our size, quite frankly, to have an ice arena. Not that we tend to take that for granted, and not every community has that.
No.
Ice
Oh,
arenas
no.
aren't all that common, quite frankly, and to have that here that serves. I mean, what a youth hockey program we have. The high school hockey program, which has been outstanding over the years. Did they win the state championship this year, Pete? Do you recall?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know they won Western Mass for sure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking they were certainly, if they didn't, they had
were
to
in the
be in the
playoffs,
running.
yeah.
But
Right, yeah.
But the reason that they have done so well is they have such a great feeder program now
right.
coming up, and I know that Westfield State University uses that as their home
Yeah.
ice.
Yep, they do.
There has been some chatter about exploring the possibility of adding a second sheet. Have you heard anything at all about
I've heard,
that?
I've heard that. Again, that would be a huge fundraiser. I guess Al himself had thought about that, Al first,
Right,
at one point.
right.
I don't know too much about it, but I've heard it
Right.
brought up, yeah.
Now, they do have an outside rink.
Yes, they do.
But it's not an ice rink. It's a hard surface for of deck hockey.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, that's what it's
right,
for,
right.
deck hockey.
So
And
that's out there too, absolutely.
And I think they have an active deck hockey program.
I don't know. I would have to
Right.
look into that because I'm
Right.
not quite there yet, yeah.
Right.
It's a great place even to go out and walk around, do, 5 times around is a mile. I don't know.
Right.
Or
Oh,
even
yeah.
inside,
Right.
take advantage of it. It's a beautiful facility. I'm very happy there.
How many hours a week are you there?
15.
Okay.
So
So you're almost to a full-time week here.
I am.
Wow.
And I leave Westfield at 3:00. And
No,
go
is that
home.
on the same days as you're
Oh,
here for
yeah.
Domus?
Look at how close. They're like 5 minutes apart. So
So-
9 to 12, I'm there. And then 12 o'clock, I go to the house.
Oh, it's perfect.
And then, if I have to adjust for meetings or whatever, well, whatever,
Sure,
of
right.
course. And first night, you want to bring that up and mention that?
Go right ahead.
Okay, first night is coming up. Harry here is spearheading the big anniversary coming up. And
So Monday, December 31st, 2018, we are going to be having a first night, which Westfield has never done, starting at 4 o'clock. And we will be having a parade that will kick off at 4. The lineup for the parade, it's a family parade with children, will be in the Amelia Park Ice Arena lobby, so you'll have a place to go to stay warm until we're ready to kick you off. That will start at 3:30, and then 4 o'clock we'll go on the parade.
we're going to have s'mores
Yes.
and fire pits out in the garden.
Yep.
The board is talking about putting the s'mores in little packets so they're all together to hand out. Music, Jay
Yeah, JPEG Luca.
Pagluca.
You're right.
I should know how to say that name. It's Italian. And the garden and the rink will be lit with tea lights. It's a nice transitional place from the Boys and Girls Club over to the Amelia Park before the fireworks. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm just catching on to all this.
Yeah,
Okay.
fireworks will be at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so
Right.
we're looking forward to that and being a part of that. It's exciting over there, I must say. The whole area. Al first really left a legacy with this.
Yeah, he did.
He really did. Really,
he left
really
a legacy
did.
throughout the entire
Really,
city,
really
but the
did.
Amelia Park was something that it was very personal because it was named after his wife, and yeah, as you said, it's a true love story.
It is.
So time is about 8, coming up on 8:50. We are going to take a short break, but you are listening to WSKB 89.5 Rock on Westfield with your host, Harry Rock. And we will be right back, but we're going to take you out with a song from Barbra Streisand called People.
People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Where children needing other children, and yet letting our grown-up pride hide all the need inside, acting more like children than children. Lovers are very special people. They're the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, a feeling deep in your your soul. Says you are half, now you're whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. With one person, one very special person, a feeling deep in your soul says you are half, now you're whole. No more hunger and thirst, but first be a person who needs people. People who need people are the luckiest people in the
Imagine if
And welcome back, listeners. You are listening to Rock On Westfield with your host, Harry Rock. It is Wednesday, October 24th. The time is about 8:54 in the morning, and we are having a phenomenal time here with my good friend Gail Agassi talking about her
fun.
life and what her career path has been. Gail is one of these individuals that has... Oh my gosh. You know, when you think Gail Agassi, you just think someone who just loves people, loves life, and she just keeps on going and going and going, and she just gives and gives and gives. And when you get to know her, her passion and her sense of empathy and her love of people, her love of life, it just oozes out of her, and you can't help but be excited and be uplifted just to be in her presence. And so I was really excited to have her in our studio on Rock On Westfield to talk about her roles. She is the site coordinator for Domus. She runs 2 houses there. We've been talking about that. And she's also the new marketing and fundraising director for the Amelia Park Ice Arena. So, like, she doesn't have enough in her life already. She just keeps on adding more and more things. But Gail, I have to ask you the question. You've worked for the Y, you've worked for the Salvation Army, you were with the
Suffield
Park and
Going
Rec.
back.
You know, I mean, you've always been in the people industry,
Yeah.
even when you had your wings with
Eastern
Eastern
Airlines.
Airlines. It's always been about working
Yeah,
with people.
yeah,
What is
yes.
it about working with people that you enjoy so much?
Who else would I be working with? I mean, desks and
Well,
chairs.
you could be
No,
you
I
could
know.
be in insurance and just moving papers from one file to another. You know, there's a lot of
I know.
jobs where you have no input or
I-
opportunity
and
to
I-
work with people.
And that's part of it. You know, just interacting with people, learning from people. Heavens, I mean, how I've grown in my lifetime just with the amazing people, the people who are so qualified, just you know, have given so much, and you just you inhale it. So I would say a lot of it is selfish because I've had the privilege of meeting and interacting and learning from so many accomplished people, men and women. I mean, it's just, you know, so you become a bigger, better, smarter person for that. But what I've learned as I've gotten older is the role model that you become just by being who you are.
Oh yeah,
It's nothing
right.
going out and preachy and
Right.
and you know, I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. I'm not trying to be 20 years old. That would be a lot of work. If I start surgery now, you know.
Right.
No, it's being who you are and loving who you are.
Right.
And people respond to that. And it gives them courage. It gives them incentive. There's a saying, and it isn't, if it sounds like Forrest Gump, but it isn't, you know. You got to keep, it's like riding a bike. to keep your balance, you have to keep moving. I love that, and that isn't Florence him. It sounds a lot like him, and you really need to use your life well. I guess that's a good way to put it. I think there's a lot of time that's wasted on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And we have a short trip here, folks. This isn't a test. This is it.
This is
And
it, right?
I've been
no
blessed
rerun.
with good health.
Right.
That is a huge, huge, huge gift.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as that keeps going, life is to be lived to the fullest. I see no reason to stop, to slow down. Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to clean my house any more than it is. I've traveled much in my life, still like to again. My family is amazing. I have amazing friends, I don't need things. You don't need things as you get older. What things do I need? Do I need another diamond necklace? No.
Right.
Well, maybe one or two, but
Maybe one or two,
yeah,
right.
no. But I've had that attitude almost all my life.
Right.
That's not a new attitude.
Right.
But it's increased.
Right.
So life is to be full and lived, and as long as you can keep going, I'm so blessed that people came to me and said, Gail, we still need you. Could you please contribute? Okay.
Yeah, there's
So
nothing.
it's a little
nothing better
selfish.
than-
It's
right.
a little selfish that
Well,
way.
it is nice to know that you're
It
needed and
is
to
nice
feel
to
like
know,
you're making a difference and that people are asking for you. So, it's all about living a life of purpose.
And
living
you
a
do
life
that
of
well,
passion
but
and purpose. And
And
you're
life
really giving
always
back.
has challenges, always,
Right.
every day of our life.
Right.
And when you see people with big, big challenges, more than you'll ever face, that encourages you to help them wherever you can.
Right.
Some of the people and the stories and the lives they've led, and to be that person that listens and cares and really cares.
Mm-hmm.
Not just there for the heck of it, so to speak. No.
Well, you are a terrific role model. When I
Thank
think
you.
of the work that you're doing with Domus in particular, these are
Yeah.
people that need really strong role models
They
in their
do.
lives and
They do.
people that they can admire, look up to, and
They
feel
do.
like, wow, if Gail can do it, I want
Yeah.
to be like Gail. And I think that your life experience gives you the
Yeah,
opportunity
it
to help
does.
give them the decision-making ability, the
Absolutely.
direction, and the inspiration to be the best that they can
Yeah.
be.
Isn't that a
And,
great thing to be able to
right.
do?
Right.
I'm so blessed that I finally realized it's a gift.
Right.
I didn't think of it that way until, later in my life.
Right.
People say, you're youthful and you're this and that. Okay, well, maybe God had a plan here.
Right.
Those are my gifts that I
Yeah,
can say.
so
that you
utilize them,
continue
maximize
on.
it, right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I don't mean that in any kind of, self puffiness. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. Puff yourself
Right.
up.
Right.
I'm patting myself on the shoulder in case
That's
you can't
okay,
see.
right.
But it's a sincere effort, and I thank you very much for spending some time with me today, my hairy rock.
Yeah. No, it's been fun.
Are we done? Are we off the air?
No, we're still going. We're still
Uh-oh.
going. So before we do go off, though,
Yes.
a couple of things I want to ask you. Is there a need for volunteers at either Domus or Amelia Park? And if so, how do they get in touch with
Okay.
you? And how can other people be touched by the life of Gail Lagasse? But most importantly, how can they give back to
Yes,
help these
I
two
know.
important organizations in town
Absolutely.
by giving what they have?
Absolutely. There's two websites, of course. Domus would be www.domusinc.org. Or Amelia Park is www.ameliarink.com.
.com. Okay. Yep. But they can find it
They
as
can
long as
find
they
it. You
Google
can find us.
Right.
Especially the rink can use lots and lots of volunteers in lots of ways. And certainly if you know how to skate, come on down. Or you're trying to teach your grandchildren to skate. And
Do they use volunteers to help people skate?
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Be out there on the ice and just watching people and guiding the little ones and being there for, lots of things you can do. So I would say, sure. Volunteers are the backbone of what makes us in the nonprofit world exist.
It is all
Isn't
about
that true?
volunteers, right?
Isn't that true?
Yeah, no, and government can only go so far, and even I don't care what organization you work for, there's a limit to what you have money to spend on.
Absolutely right.
There's never a bottomless well, and I always have said that you can go to a certain point with what your budget allow you,
Right.
But if you want to go the extra step, bring volunteers in.
I just have to say, sitting here with Harry and all the years we worked together, no money, no mission.
No money, no mission. Thank you very much. I appreciate you still remembering that. I used to preach that, but it was about fundraising. Make sure you got your fees come in. But if you want to affect a change in life, if you want to affect and move your mission, you've got to have money. But there's always a limit to what you have to spend. So volunteers are huge from the standpoint of allowing you to take it to that next step, because they will enable you to do the things that you want to do. And, you're a perfect example of that. I volunteer a lot in my life. Pete does as well. I mean, we all are volunteering.
We do.
And that's what allows us to really do what it is that we do. But Gail, I just want to thank you for coming into the studio today.
You're welcome.
It's been a lot of fun to connect with you.
See you here next week, same time?
Yeah, see you here next week, same time, same place.
Yeah.
Thank
you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's always a pleasure. And I certainly want to thank Pete Coles, who is our producer and our engineer, who keeps WSKB going, because without Pete, WSKB doesn't happen. And I want to thank you, the listening audience, for giving up an hour of your time to share with Rock On Westfield, to hear what it is that we're talking about, and all the many people that we try to bring in. But Westfield's a wonderful community, and
it is.
We want to share all the positive attributes that we have. The time is about 9:04 in the morning. It is Wednesday, October 24th. We are going to say goodbye, and we are going to take you out with a song that many of you will recognize by John Lennon, called Imagine. Have a great day.
Imagine there's no heaven. See as if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only